"Mom, are you still working on these things?" The customer's voice came to my ears as sharp as the thousands of lights in the crystal chandelier. Senora Martinez, the elegant woman planning her daughter's 15th birthday party, asked me this while looking at Valeria, not me. As if I wasn't even there. As if it wasn't me who had been meeting with her every week for the past 6 months, sifting through dozens of fabric samples to find her daughter's favorite shade of lilac. "Oh no, Senora Martinez," said my daughter, with that fake modest smile of hers. "My mom is more of like a consultant. Damien and I handle the day-to-day stuff now." She placed her hand on her husband's, as if showing off a medal of achievement. At that moment, something cracked inside me, but the smile remained frozen on my face. The smile of Esperanza Delgado, who had organized flawless events for 28 years. Only what was going through my mind was different. "My daughter, you and that husband of yours stole the secrets from my notebook, but you couldn't steal my real power. You'll understand that. Very soon. My name is Esperanza Delgado. I'm 52 years old. Without any diplomas, just with my passion and sincerity, I founded Miami's most respected event planning agency. Every bride, every young girl turning 15, every newborn baby celebrated the most special day of their lives in my hands. But tonight, I understood from the way Senora Martinez looked at me that my own blood was trying to erase me not only from my work, but also from my identity, and I had already begun to take notes, silently. As the light from the crystal chandelier in the hall fell on my face, my hands were trembling. But no one noticed. If I've been doing this job for 28 years, I've also learned to wear a perfect mask. While Valeria and Damien talked with Senora Martinez about the new arrangements, I quietly left the room. When I sat behind the wheel of the car, I didn't recognize the woman I saw in the rearview mirror. Is this woman M.E.? Was this woman Esperanza Delgado, who had sacrificed everything for her daughter over the years? I reached into the glove compartment. There, I kept a small photo album that I had carried around for years. When I opened it, the first thing I saw was Valeria at age 10, wearing a pink dress, holding my hand. We were coming to an event I had organized for the first time. Everything had changed after that day. Today, in the hall, Senora Martinez said something to her daughter. "Mi amor, never forget how much your mother sacrificed for you." When I heard that sentence, that night 18 years ago came to mind. Valeria was 14 and had said for the first time, "Mama, I want to be like you." Back then, my agency was still small. It wasn't an office. I used the guest room in my house. The walls were covered with fabric samples, and the table was full of invitation drafts. I would work until 3 in the morning because clients would come during the day and place their orders in the evening. I would prepare everything at night. That night, Valeria came to my door. Her hair was messy, and she had a glass of milk in her hand. "Mama, why are you always working?" she asked in her fragile voice. I put down my pen and looked at her. There was something in her eyes. I couldn't tell if it was curiosity or disappointment. I sat her on my lap. "Because, my dear, we are strong women. I work so that you can go to college, so that you can have everything you want. But my friends' mothers go on picnics with them. They bake cookies." My heart ached at that moment. I stroked her hair with my hand. "Look, Valeria, I'll show you something." I had taken the new order that had arrived at the table and placed it in front of her. "This is for the christening party of Senora Rodriguez's son. They come to me because they trust me, because I do every detail perfectly. And one day, maybe you'll work with me. Maybe we'll grow this business together. What do you say?" Her eyes lit up. "Really, Mama? Can I be an organizer too?" "You're my girl, Esperanza. You can be anything." That night, I stayed with her until she fell asleep. The next morning, on her way to school, I put a note in her bag. "You're amazing today too, mi amor. We'll have ice cream together tonight. But that evening, there was a wedding to organize in Coral Gables. I came home at midnight. Valeria was already asleep. I found a note under her pillow. "Mama, I love you. We'll have ice cream tomorrow." Tomorrow never came. It was always postponed to the next day. Always to the next day. Now, looking at that photo, I realized that the sparkle in the eyes of that girl in the pink dress was tied to a promise I made. And I didn't keep that promise. But then, years later, I thought I had given her everything. I spent all my savings on expanding the agency because one day Valeria and I will run it together. I didn't go on vacations. I didn't buy new clothes. I didn't do anything for myself. Every dollar I earned, I put in the bank for Valeria's future. Today, what I see on Senora Martinez's face leads me to this question. Did that little girl want me to spend time with her? Or did she want my money? And today, is the Valeria standing in front of me that innocent child in the pink dress? Or is she a stranger using me? And today, Damien's confident tone when he told Senora Martinez, "We are the future of the company now," brought that day back to life in my mind. When Valeria said she was going to get engaged to Damien, the first thing I felt was fear. I don't know why. Maybe it was a mother's instinct, but Valeria was so happy that I pushed my own doubts aside. "Mama, Damien is a great guy. He's very successful in digital marketing. Maybe he could help the agency too. What do you think?" At the time, my agency was already doing well. My clients were loyal to me. My business was going smoothly. I didn't use social media much, true. But my clients were people who called me by name and invited me over for coffee. What did it matter to them if I had thousands of followers on Instagram? But Valeria insisted, "Mom, we're missing out on the new generation of clients. Damien can help us." And for my daughter's happiness, I said yes. I remember when Damien first came to the office, he arrived in a red sports car. His watch was expensive, his clothes were stylish, but there was something in his eyes. Hunger. Hunger for wealth. I saw it right then, but I ignored it. "Señora Esperanza," he said, shaking my hand. His hand was sweaty. "Valeria has told me so much about you. It's incredible that you built this agency from scratch. But look, we're in the digital age. If you trust me, we can take this business to the next level." We were sitting at the desk with Valeria beside us. Damien opened a presentation on his laptop. Colorful graphics, statistics, photos of events that had gone viral on Instagram. "See? These agencies have thousands of followers on social media. WE can do that too. But first, we need to modernize the company structure. If Valeria and I become partners, we can make more dynamic decisions." Something stirred inside me. Partners? But this is my agency, Damien. It's been mine for 24 years. Valeria held my hand. "Mama, no one is taking anything from you. We're just family. When I marry Damien, he'll be family too. And together, we'll be stronger. Right?" I looked into her eyes. That little girl in the pink dress was now 28. She was getting married. She wanted to be happy. How could I stand in the way of her happiness? "Okay," I said, "but only 20%. The rest is still mine." Damien smiled. There was triumph in that smile. Now I understand it. The next month, we went to the lawyer. The partnership agreement was drawn up. Damien explained each clause, saying, "These are formalities within the family, Señora Esperanza, but they are legally necessary." Seeing my daughter so happy, arm in arm, I signed. I signed every page. When I got home that night, I felt strange. It was as if my house didn't belong to me, as if my soul wasn't sitting inside my body. I opened a bottle of wine and went out onto the balcony. The lights of Miami sparkled before me, but inside I was dark. The phone rang. It was Don Arturo, my florist. Esperanza, Valeria and Damian came today. They asked strange questions. What kind of questions? They asked for the addresses of your old customers, their special requests. They talked about your notebook. They said, the notes Mama wrote are very valuable. But their tone, it seemed strange to me. At that moment, a feeling of unease arose in my heart. Don't worry, Arturo. They probably want to help the family. But Arturo added seriously, Esperanza, you are my friend. I've known you very well for 25 years. Be careful. Family is sacred, but some people wear that word like a mask. I will never forget that night. When I raised my wine glass to my lips, my hands were shaking. Arturo's words echoed in my ears, but I didn't listen to them. Because Valeria was my daughter, she was my life. She couldn't betray me. How wrong I was. Today, sitting in my car, I think about the day I signed that partnership agreement. Now I understand that Damian told me the truth in that presentation. We need to modernize the company structure. But what I understood was social media and new customers. What he meant was to sideline me. Valeria's happy face is before my eyes. Mama, together we will be stronger. But now, in the hall, as Senora Martinez passes by without looking at me, I realize that I have already been left powerless. My 28 years of work, my respectability, my identity, all have been slowly taken away from me. That little girl, that innocent child in the pink dress, is gone. In her place is a stranger who made me forget my name, who made me a consultant, who told my customers, Mama is no longer active in the business. And what did I do all these sacrifices for? We never even ate ice cream together. We never even went on a picnic. I always said tomorrow. I always said when you grow up. And now, she has grown up. But she has grown up outside my shadow. As my hand hits the steering wheel, tears roll down my cheeks. But these tears are not tears of helplessness. These are tears of awakening. Because when Esperanza Delgado came to this city 28 years ago with nothing, she had only one thing, her will. And I hadn't destroyed that will for anyone. I had just forgotten it. Now is the time to remember. I take out my phone. I call Don Arturo. Arturo, can you do me a favor? Tell me, Esperanza. Find out when Valeria and Damian are going to place their order. And let me know. Quietly. No one will know. Arturo, as if he had been waiting for this, replies immediately. I guess you were waiting for me to say this 4 years ago. But you finally said it. I'm proud to help you, amiga. As I hang up the phone, I look in the rearview mirror again. This time, I see a woman I recognize, a tired, wounded, but not dead woman. A woman ready to fight. Because sacrifice cannot be an excuse for betrayal. And if my daughter isn't old enough to understand that, I will teach her. But this time, not with sweetness, with reality. The following week, when I went to the office, I saw a new sign on the door. My heart raced. I approached and read, Delgado and Ruiz Events, Modern Event Solutions. Delgado and Ruiz. My last name, equated with theirs, as if Valeria's father and I had never existed, as if Damian had founded this agency. When I went inside, the office had changed. The old photos on the walls, from weddings, baptisms, quinceañeras I had organized, had all been taken down. In their place hung modern event photos in minimalist white frames. I wasn't in any of them. Valeria was sitting at her desk with her laptop. She smiled when she saw me, but it was a cold smile. Ah, Mom, you're here. Isn't it beautiful? Damian designed the renovation. Where are the old photos? I asked, my voice trembling. They were too old-fashioned. Clients want a modern look now. You understand. You understand. That word stuck in my throat, as if my opinion didn't matter, as if my 28 years of experience, my taste, my hard work didn't exist. But Valeria, these are my memories. Mine dash dash. Mom, she said, her voice hard, the company is growing. Growing sometimes means leaving the past behind. You wanted that too, didn't you? For me to be successful? Yes, I did, but not like this. Not by erasing my own existence. That day, I wandered around the office like a ghost. Damien now sat at my old desk. My pen holders, my diaries. Everything had been thrown away. In their place were stylish metallic items. On the whiteboard on the wall were notes written in Damien's handwriting. New customer target, ages 25 to 40. Move the old customer base to Instagram. The old customer base, meaning my customers. The people who were loyal to me, who called me by name, who invited me into their homes, were now a target audience. I went to the bathroom. The woman I saw in the mirror wasn't the Esperanza I knew. There were dark circles under my eyes. My hair seemed to have turned whiter in the last week. My face showed exhaustion, an expression of defeat. What have you done to yourself? I whispered to the mirror. How did you end up like this? But I got no answer, because I no longer knew who I was. The second blow came 3 days later. When I looked at my phone, I had an Instagram notification. I opened the agency's account. Valeria and Damien had shared a new post. In the photo, the two of them were posing with smiles in the office. The caption stabbed me in the chest like a knife. New era, new energy. As Delgado and Ruiz Events, we are taking our place in the modern event world. By combining the experience of founding partner Esperanza Delgado with new generation creativity, we turn your dreams into reality. Number new generation, number modern events, number Miami events. The experience of founding partner Esperanza Delgado. I had become an experience left behind, gathering dust, like a book on a shelf, a resource waiting to be used. I looked at the comments. Hundreds of likes, dozens of comments. Customers were congratulating her, but none of them asked about me. None of them said, "Where is Esperanza?" My phone vibrated in my hand. A message had arrived. It was from Senora Martinez. Esperanza, my daughter's party was wonderful, but we didn't get to say goodbye to you. Are you no longer an active part of the company? Valeria said so. The screen blurred. My tears fell onto the phone. Aren't you an active part of the company anymore? 28 years. For 28 years, I worked every night, every weekend, every holiday. I even went to client meetings on my daughter's birthdays. I didn't see my friends. I didn't take vacations. I always said, for Valeria's future. I said, I'll grow the agency, and one day I'll leave it to her. And now, that future had arrived. But I was outside of that future. I couldn't type a reply on the phone. My hands wouldn't hold it. I just dropped the phone and lay down on the bed. It was noon, but I closed the blinds. In the dark, I stared at the ceiling. Even breathing was exhausting. Maybe they were right. Maybe I really was getting old. Maybe this new world wasn't my world anymore. Instagram, social media, influencer clients. This wasn't the world I knew. My world was face-to-face meetings, handwritten notes, the coffee served when I visited clients' homes. Maybe it was time to retire. This thought came like a soothing numbness. Yes, maybe it was time to let go. Valeria and Damien would manage the business. And me, what would I do? Nothing. For 28 years, this job was all there was in my life. My identity was this job. If I let it go, what would be left? That night, I couldn't sleep. At every closing, I saw Valeria's cold smile, Damien's triumphant gaze, Senora Martinez's question, "Aren't you active anymore?" By morning, I had made up my mind. I would go to the office and resign. Officially, I was already a ghost there. At least I could step out of ghosthood and disappear. Completely. But the third blow came that morning, and it was the last straw. When I got to the office, Valeria and Damien were in a meeting. They were sitting in the glass room with 3 other people. I approached and froze. The people sitting at that table were my oldest clients. It was 18 years ago when Senora Garcia first came to me for her son's wedding. 12 years ago, I organized Senor Fernandez's daughter's 15th birthday party, and Senora Lopez called me every year for every family event. All 3 were my loyal clients. They trusted me, they saw me as one of the family, and now, they were in a meeting with Valeria and Damien. I wanted to open the door, but Damien signaled with his eyes. "We're busy," he meant. I waited outside, my ears pressed against the glass of the meeting room. The voices were muffled, but I could make out some sentences. Esperanza is no longer active. Health problems. We are continuing the legacy. Health? Issues? My knees trembled. I leaned against the wall. They were lying to the customers. They were saying I was sick, that I couldn't work anymore. And the customers were nodding sympathetically, as if to say, "Poor Esperanza. She worked so hard she deserves to rest now." When the meeting ended, the customers left. Senora Garcia smiled when she saw me, but there was pity in her eyes. "Oh, Esperanza, you look so well. Valeria said you had health problems. I hope you get better." I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. I just nodded. Senora Lopez took my hand. "You worked so hard for us. Now it's time to rest. Valeria and Damien are very talented, don't worry." All 3 of them left, one by one. And I was left there, at the entrance to my office. Sick, inadequate, a thing of the past, all because of a lie. I entered the meeting room. Valeria was closing her laptop. Damien was looking at his phone. "Did you tell them I was sick?" I asked. My voice was calm, very calm, so calm that no one could hear the storm inside me. Valeria looked up. There was no guilt in her eyes, just relief. "Mama, don't misunderstand. It's just, the clients kept asking about you. Where is Esperanza? Why don't we see her?" We had to explain. "By lying?" Damien interjected in that cold, professional voice of his. "Senora Esperanza, this is the business world. Clients want stability. If we said the founding partner isn't interested, it would undermine trust. But if we say she stepped down for health reasons, we're continuing her legacy, we protect you and maintain customer confidence." "You're protecting me?" My voice rose. "You're tarnishing my name. You're making me look sick, inadequate." Valeria stood up. The fake warmth was gone from her face. Only coldness remained. "Mom, you're no longer active in this business. What have you done in the last 6 months? You come to the office, you sit, you leave, you produce nothing. We run the business. We get the clients. We sign the contracts. You're just in the past." I'm in the past. That word pierced my heart like an arrow. I taught you this business. I gave you everything. Thanks to me. "Yes, Mama." Valeria's voice was harsh now. "Thanks to you. Everything is thanks to you. We've heard that for years. I sacrificed for you. I gave you this job. But now, it's no longer your time. We're growing this business. We're moving it forward, and if you can't keep up, maybe it really is time for you to retire." Silence fell. The sound of the office air conditioner, the traffic outside, everything seemed distant. Valeria gathered her files. "I have another meeting now. If you have anything to discuss, let's talk at home tonight." And she just left. Damien shrugged and followed her. I stood there, in my own office, feeling like a stranger. I sat down at my desk. My hands were shaking. I couldn't breathe. There was a heaviness in my chest, a lump in my throat. I'm stuck in the past. Valeria's words echoed in my ears. You're not producing anything. It's not your time anymore. My head spun. I stood up. I went to the bathroom. I stood at the sink and splashed cold water on my face. I looked in the mirror. And this time, that woman looked back at me. There was no pain in her eyes anymore. No fatigue. Just something awakening. Slowly. Like fire. I'm in the past, am I? I whispered. But the past didn't mean powerless. The past meant experience. The past meant knowledge. The past meant a treasure trove of hidden weapons. They were making me look sick. They were making me look inadequate. They were lying to my customers. But there was one thing they forgot. I, Esperanza Delgado, came to this city 28 years ago with nothing. But I came with one thing, the instinct to survive. And that instinct was now awakening. I took my phone out of my pocket. I called Don Arturo. Arturo, tell me something. What does my partnership agreement say? Remember, you were with me when we went to the lawyer that day. Arturo was silent for a moment. Then he replied, I remember. There was a clause. Without you, no customer database, business relationship, or intellectual property could be transferred. You insisted on that clause. The lawyer added it. My heartbeat quickened. And what else? As the company's founder, your decision always takes precedence. If you find joint decisions contrary to the company's interests, you have veto power. My veto power. That word illuminated everything like a candle burning in a dark room. Arturo, do me one more favor. Is your lawyer friend still in Miami? Yes, Mr. Beltran. He's still working. Set up an appointment with him. Tomorrow. First thing. Esperanza, said Arturo, a hint of joy in his voice. You're finally waking up. Yes, Arturo. I'm waking up. I hung up the phone and looked at myself in the mirror again. This time, the woman I saw wasn't a victim. She wasn't prey. She was a predator. A silent, patient, and very, very dangerous predator. Because Valeria and Damien had forgotten one thing. I was the woman who built this business from scratch. I was the woman who knew every detail. I was the woman who knew every legal loophole, every business relationship, every secret agreement. They had only seen the surface, the shiny, modern, Instagram-worthy surface, but I knew the foundations, and the foundations were much stronger than the surface. Valeria had said, I'm in the past. But the past could sometimes destroy the future, and I was going to teach her that. That evening, I didn't go home. I went straight to Don Arturo's flower shop. We had coffee in the back room. Arturo placed an old notebook in front of me. Look, Esperanza, this is something you don't know. For the past 4 years, Valeria and Damien have been buying from me every month, but they've also been placing orders under the name of another company. Another company? Nuevo Sol Events, registered under Damien's name. It's not active in Miami yet, but the founding date is the very month you made them partners. The world spun. My head throbbed. So, they were using my company to set up their own? Arturo nodded. My guess is they'll learn your customer network, your suppliers, your business connections, then open Nuevo Sol, and they'll leave you behind. Maybe they'll bankrupt the agency, then tell customers, Delgado Events is closed, but we're continuing as Nuevo Sol. Betrayal was acceptable to a certain extent, but this was a declaration of war. Arturo, I said, my voice icy, tell me everything. What they've done these past 4 years, who they've talked to, what they've ordered, everything. That night, Arturo and I talked until morning. I took notes, names, dates, order numbers. I gathered everything. When the sun rose, I had a weapon in my hand, information, and information was the sharpest blade of revenge. As Arturo said goodbye, he told me, "Esperanza, you are my friend. But I must warn you, if you go down this path, there will be no turning back. Valeria is your daughter. If you do this, you might lose her forever." I looked into his eyes. "Arturo, I already lost her. That little girl in the pink dress who said, 'Mama, I love you,' is gone. In her place is a stranger trying to destroy me. Fighting her isn't about winning her back. It's about winning myself back." Arturo smiled. "Then I'll fight with you too, amiga." I squeezed his hand, and in that moment, for the first time in 28 years, I realized something. I wasn't alone. In the midst of betrayal, there were those who saw me. There were those who supported me. And with that strength, I, Esperanza Delgado, would reclaim my own story. Valeria and Damian had only seen the surface of the game, but I had written the rules of the game myself. And now, the real game was beginning. Attorney Senor Beltran's office was on the 12th floor of an old building in downtown Miami. The cityscape was visible through the window, that familiar Miami skyline, palm trees, skyscrapers. But today, everything looked different. It was as if the world had become more sharply defined. "Senora Delgado," said Beltran, adjusting his glasses, "I've reviewed your partnership agreement. And you're right. These clauses provide you with very strong protection." I looked at the documents spread out on the table. My signature on every page. My signature from 4 years ago. How naive I was then. How blind. But at least I had listened to the lawyer that day. "According to this clause," said Beltran, placing his finger on the document, "as the company's founder, the customer database, supplier, relationships, and all intellectual property cannot be transferred to another company without your consent. And here," he turned to another page, "you have veto power over joint decisions." "So legally, they can't do anything without my permission?" "In theory, yes. But in practice, if you can't prove it, it's difficult in court. You have to prove that they intend to start another company, that they are trying to steal your customers." I took the file Don Arturo had given me out of my bag. "Will this be enough?" Beltran opened the file. As we flipped through the pages, his eyebrows raised. Order slips, invoices issued in the name of Nuevo Sol Events, Damian's signature. "Where did you find this?" "From a reliable source." Beltran smiled. "Senora Delgado, I think you would make a better lawyer than me. This evidence clearly shows their bad faith. But we need one more thing, proof that they systematically targeted your clients. For example, something that proves they lied to clients, that they slandered you." At that moment it occurred to me, the meeting at the office, the health problems lie. What if there were recordings of those conversations? Beltran leaned forward. Audio recordings? If they were obtained legally and comply with Florida law, they can be used in court. One-party recording is legal in Florida, meaning you can record without the other party's knowledge. My heart raced. I had my old phone, the one I always carried with me at the office. The phone I used to record client requests. In recent months, I had started leaving it on while walking around the office. A subconscious protective instinct or coincidence, I didn't know. But if those recordings were still on the phone... "Senor Beltran, I'll get back to you in a few days." With more evidence. The lawyer held out his hand. "Senora Delgado, I must tell you something. This case is not just a legal battle. It's a family one. Are you ready for that?" I shook his hand. "I have no family anymore, Senor Beltran. Only business partners, and they're messing with the wrong person." It was evening when I got home. My hand trembled as I put the key in the lock. The house was dark, empty. I turned on the lights. Everything was in its place, but I felt like I was in someone else's house. Was this house mine anymore? Or was it just a waiting room, a transition point? I went to the bedroom. I reached for the top shelf of the wardrobe and pulled out an old shoebox. Inside were my old phones, devices I had replaced over the years but couldn't bring myself to throw away. I found one, the phone I had used until 2 years ago. I plugged in the charger and waited. When the screen lit up, my heartbeat echoed in my ears. I opened the apps. I opened the voice recordings folder. There were hundreds of files, conversations with clients, notes, reminders, and then I saw them. The recordings from the last few months, files recorded by the phone's microphone while it was on in the office. I looked at the titles, dates, times. I opened one. Damien's voice filled the room. Esperanza is no longer able to do this job. She has health issues. But don't worry, we'll carry on her legacy. The recording continued, the client's voice full of compassion. Oh, poor Esperanza. She always worked so hard. I opened another file. This time it was Valeria's voice. Mama's methods are outdated. We're in the digital age now. We're going to modernize the business. She's just an old-fashioned person anyway. With each file I listened to, another stone rose in my chest. But this stone wasn't a burden. It was strength. Every lie, every slander, every betrayal gave me another weapon. I put the phone down on the table. I opened my laptop. I needed to back up these recordings, make copies. But just then, the phone rang. I looked at the screen. It was Valeria. Something inside me ached. My finger went to the answer button, but I hesitated, because that voice still said, "My daughter," inside me. That name still echoed my baby. I answered, "Mama, where are you? We couldn't find you at the office." Her voice was normal, not cold, not warm, just routine, as if it were an ordinary work call. "I'm at home, Valeria." "Oh, good. Can you come to the office tomorrow? We have some documents that need your signature." Documents. My signature. Another game? What documents? A new supplier contract. Nothing important, just routine stuff. But we need your signature, routine stuff. How simple, how innocent. "Valeria, I have a question." "Yes?" Are you happy with what you're doing?" There was silence. Then Valeria's voice came, this time harsher. "What do you mean?" "Nothing. I was just curious." "Mom, you're tired. Rest. We'll talk tomorrow." And she hung up. My hand was still holding the phone. That word, mama, stuck in my throat. When was the last time she had said mama to me with real love? When was the last time she had held me in her arms? I got up. I went out onto the balcony. The evening air caressed my face. The lights of Miami sparkled before me. 28 years had passed in this city. I loved this city, and this city loved me. But now, I was alone in this city. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Valeria as a little girl. The times I carried her in my arms. The times I stayed up all night watching over her when she was sick. The morning of her first day of school, when I held her hand and took her to school. And then I saw Valeria as she is today, her cold stare, her words, "You produce nothing." Her taking down my photos in the office. 2 Valerias, one living in my heart, the other, the real one. Which one was real? Or were both real? I got out of bed. I went to the living room. On the wall, there was an old photo frame. Valeria and me on a Christmas night 10 years ago. We were both smiling. Her arms were wrapped around my neck. There was love in her eyes. Where did that love go? I held the frame in my hand. "Mi niña," I whispered. "What happened to you?" But there was no answer, only silence. And in that silence, I made a decision. Maybe Valeria really was lost. Maybe that little girl had become someone else when she grew up. Maybe I couldn't save her, but I could save myself. I put the frame back in its place, and in that moment, that soft, compassionate voice inside me that said, "But she's my daughter," fell silent. Instead, another voice rose up. "She's not your daughter anymore. She's someone trying to destroy you, and you have to fight to survive." The next day, I didn't go to the office. Instead, I called Don Arturo. "Arturo, do you know which suppliers Valeria and Damien work with? Which venues they use?" "Yes, I know most of them. Why?" "I need to talk to them." But quietly. Valeria and Damien mustn't hear. Arturo smiled understandingly. "Esperanza, you won't just be talking to them, you'll be talking to the whole industry, because in this city, everyone knows you, and everyone is loyal to you, not to them." That day, I made a list. Florists, bakery owners, venue managers, DJs, photographers, everyone I'd worked with in 28 years. I wrote down all their numbers, and I made a plan. If Valeria and Damien wanted to steal my clients, what was my greatest strength? My relationships, the trust people in this industry had in me. According to the information Arturo gave me, Valeria and Damien were planning a big event 3 months later, a business council gala, the Hispano Business Excellence Gala, Miami's most prestigious night. The entire business world would be there, and Valeria and Damien were going to announce Nuevo Sol events that night. I needed to be there that night, but not as a guest. In control. My plan was this: to meet with all the suppliers individually and reveal Valeria and Damien's true intentions, to show them the evidence. And at that gala night, if Valeria and Damien placed an order, I would ask them to let me know. Using my veto right in the partnership agreement, I would legally inform them that the gala event could not take place without my consent, but I would keep this a secret until the very last moment. Tell my customers, especially my old and loyal customers, the truth. Show them that I'm not sick, that I'm still active, and invite them to that gala night. At that gala night, expose what Valeria and Damien have done in front of everyone, with evidence, with voice recordings, and most importantly, declare that they can't do anything without my permission. But the most critical step was this: to get Valeria and Damien to invite me to that gala, because if I wasn't there as a guest, the revenge would have no effect. I picked up the phone. I called Valeria. "Mom, why didn't you come to the office today?" "Valeria, I need to talk to you." "It's important." There was unease in her voice. "About what?" "About the company. I think you were right. Maybe it's time for me to retire." Silence. Then Valeria's voice, softer this time. "Really, Mama?" "Yes, but I have one condition. At the gala, come on stage with me. Tell people Esperanza Delgado is retiring, but her legacy lives on with us. That's important to me. Think of it as a final tribute." I heard Valeria breathe. "Mama, that's a wonderful idea. Of course. We'll go on stage with you. We'll honor you. We'll honor you." That word made me sick to my stomach, but I kept my voice calm. "Thank you, mi niña. Then get ready. I'll take care of my part." When I hung up the phone, I smiled. For the first time in days, a real smile. Because Valeria had fallen into the trap. When I took the stage that night, I would be the one doing the honoring. But it wouldn't be an honor. It would be a condemnation. The next 2 weeks were intense. Every day I met with a supplier. The bakery owner, Senora Ruiz, the florist, Don Arturo, the photographer, Miguel, the DJ, Carlos. I met with each of them individually. I told each of them the same thing. I'm not sick. They're lying, and they're trying to destroy me by using your trust. But I believe in your loyalty. and each of them replied with anger in their eyes, "Esperanza, you're part of our family. Who are they to do this to you?" The supplier network remained loyal to me. Each of them promised to let me know about that gala night. Then I turned to my customers. My old customers were my real strength. I called them one by one. I told them I wasn't sick, that I was still here, and I sent some of them invitations to that gala night, under the pretext of celebrating the company's transition. Each phone call gave me a little strength, because they remembered me, they loved me, and when they learned the truth, they wouldn't side with Valeria and Damien. But the real challenge was organizing those records. I gave everything to Attorney Beltran. He initiated the legal process, the petition to the court, the notice of my veto rights, the allegations of breach of partnership agreement. "Señora Delgado," said Beltran, "this lawsuit will ensure your victory. But the court process could be lengthy, 6 months, maybe a year." "No," I said, "there will be no need for court. That gala night, it will all be over, because they will face the truth in front of everyone, and that shame will be worse than any court penalty." Beltran smiled. "You're not just a businesswoman, Señora. You're a strategist." 2 days before the gala, Valeria called. "Mama, have you thought about what you're going to wear tonight? I'd like you to wear red. It would look very chic. Red, of course, a fitting color for their show." "Of course, mi niña, red it is." "And Mama, one more thing. That night, I want you to give a short speech on stage. Tell people how proud Damien and I are of you, okay?" "How proud?" "Of course, Valeria. I'll say everything." When I hung up the phone, I was trembling, but this time, it wasn't from fear. It was from excitement. That night, when I went on stage, I was going to say everything, but not what they wanted. The truth. When the gala night arrived, Miami's sky was crimson orange. As the sun kissed the ocean, I looked at myself in the mirror. My red dress fit my body perfectly. My hair was up, my makeup light but effective. But most importantly, it was the sparkle in my eyes. For the first time in years, I felt like myself. I checked my clutch bag. Inside was a small USB drive containing all the audio recordings. There were also the legal documents my lawyer had prepared, and my phone ready to receive Don Arturo's messages. The doorbell rang. When I opened it, Don Arturo was standing there. He was wearing a suit. I'd never seen him so well dressed before. He held a bouquet of flowers, white roses. "Esperanza," he said, a mixture of sadness and pride in his eyes. "Tonight is your night, and I am honored to be with you." I took the bouquet. My eyes filled with tears, but I held them back. "Arturo, I couldn't have made it here without you." "No, amiga. You were always strong. You just needed to remember." El Gran Salón de Cristal was in the heart of Miami. With its crystal chandeliers, marble floors, and ocean views through its huge windows, it was the city's most prestigious venue. Years ago, I had organized dozens of events here. I knew every corner, every sound, every angle of light. And tonight, this venue was the arena for my final battle. When I got out of the car, I walked down the red carpet. There were photographers, guests, Miami's elite. Some recognized me and greeted me with surprised looks. "Esperanza, how wonderful to see you. Señora Delgado, we missed you." I accepted every greeting sincerely, because tonight I was not invisible. I was Esperanza Delgado. When I entered the hall, Valeria and Damien greeted me. Valeria was wearing a gold dress. Damien was in a tuxedo with a fake smile on his face. "Mama!" Valeria grabbed my arms and kissed my cheeks, but the kiss was cold. "You look so beautiful." "Thank you, mi niña. You look wonderful too." Damien shook my hand. "Señora Esperanza, everyone is here tonight. It's a very important night for U.S." "I know," I said, smiling. For me too. Valeria leaned close to my ear. Did you prepare your speech? Keep it short, okay? Just congratulate us. Tell them they left the job in safe hands. Don't worry. I'll say everything. They walked towards the stage. I started wandering around the hall. I saw my clients, Senora Garcia, Senor Fernandez, Senora Lopez. They were all here. I approached them, and we exchanged warm greetings. Esperanza, we heard you were ill, said Senora Garcia. No, I said, smiling. I'm perfectly healthy. You'll find out everything. Soon enough. Curiosity flashed in their eyes, but I moved on to other tables. In the corner of the hall, I saw Don Arturo. Next to him were the other suppliers, bakery owner Senora Ruiz, photographer Miguel, DJ Carlos. They all nodded at me. We're ready, their eyes said. At 8:30 p.m., the lights went out. A spotlight fell on the stage. The host approached the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest with us tonight. Miami's event world legend, Esperanza Delgado, and her daughter Valeria are here to announce a new era. Applause erupted. Valeria and Damien took the stage. I exited through the side door next to the stage. Valeria took the microphone. Good evening. We are here tonight to share a very special announcement with all of you. My mother, Esperanza Delgado, has served this city for 28 years. Her legacy will live on in all of our hearts. Legacy, past tense, as if I were dead. But now, a new generation has taken over. Damien and I will take Delgado and Ruiz events forward, and very soon we will embark on a new journey, Nuevo Sol Events. On the screen, the Nuevo Sol Events logo appeared. Modern, sleek, bright. The room applauded, but there was surprise on some faces, especially my old clients, looking at each other. My mother is here today, and we'd like her to say a few words. Mama, would you come up on stage? The spotlight turned to me. I walked, step by step. I heard the sound of my heels on the marble. When I reached the stage, Valeria handed me the microphone. Thank you, mi niña, I said, taking the microphone. I looked out at the hall, hundreds of people, all looking at me, waiting. And in that moment, everything that had built up inside me over the years, the pain, the anger, the disappointment, the strength, came together in a single breath. Good evening, I said. My voice was strong, not trembling. My name is Esperanza Delgado. And no, I am not sick. Valeria's face changed. Damien leaned forward. 28 years ago, I started with nothing in this city, only my dreams, my hands, and the passion in my heart, and I organized the most special days for most of you in this room. I was there for your births, your weddings, your every moment. Applause rose. I continued. But in the last few years, something happened. My own daughter and son-in-law decided to destroy me. Systematically, they lied to you. They said I was sick, that I couldn't work anymore. They pushed me into the past. And now, here, they are announcing Nuevo Sol events, using my clients, my suppliers, my 28 years of hard work. The room fell silent. Valeria reached for the microphone, but I pulled back. But they forgot one thing. I, Esperanza Delgado, am the woman who built this business. And legally. They can't do anything without my permission. I took the USB drive out of my bag. This drive contains audio recordings from the last 2 years. Recordings that prove they lied to customers, made me look sick, and stole my business connections. A recording opened on the screen. Damien's voice filled the room. Esperanza is no longer in a position to do this job. She has health problems. The customers' faces were shocked. Another recording. Valeria's voice. Mama's methods are outdated. She's now a thing of the past. The room filled with whispers. And most importantly, I said, raising my voice, In our partnership agreement, I have veto power, so Nuevo Sol events cannot be established without my consent, and I do not consent. Valeria lunged forward. Mama, what are you doing? I turned and looked into her eyes. I'm doing to you what you did to me for years, Valeria. I'm telling the truth. Damien tried to leave the stage, but Don Arturo blocked his way, along with the other suppliers. You two tried to destroy Esperanza, said Arturo, his voice carrying throughout the hall. But you forgot one thing. This industry is built on relationships, and we are loyal to Esperanza. One by one, the suppliers stood up. Señora Ruiz, Miguel, Carlos, all of them. We will not serve Nuevo Sol events, said Señora Ruiz, because Esperanza is our family. The customers began to stand up too. Señora Garcia, Señor Fernandez, all of them. Esperanza, we are with you, said Señora Garcia, her eyes brimming with tears. Valeria, panic in her eyes, turned to me. Mama, por favor, you're ruining tonight. We're family. Family? I cut her off. Did you ever treat me like family, Valeria? You made me look sick. You tarnished my name. You erased me from my office, from my identity. That was not family. That was betrayal. Tears streamed down her cheeks. But I wasn't softening now. But I'll give you a chance. Forget Nuevo Sol. Work with me as an honest partner at Delgado and Ruiz events. Or leave. The choice is yours. Valeria was trembling. Damien had already left the stage and was exiting the hall. Valeria turned to the microphone. Her voice was broken. Mama. But she couldn't finish her sentence. She bowed her head and left the stage. The hall erupted in applause. A standing ovation. For me, Esperanza Delgado. I put down the microphone. I left the stage. But this time, not defeated, but victorious. A month later, Valeria and Damien officially withdrew from the company partnership. The legal process was completed without incident. Nuevo Sol events never opened. Damien left Miami. Valeria moved to another city. I didn't call her. She didn't call me. Maybe one day, that little girl will come back. Maybe one day she'll say, Mom, I'm sorry, but I wasn't waiting anymore, because I had my life back. Today I'm sitting in the renovated office of Delgado Events. Old photos are hanging on the walls again. Weddings, baptisms, parties I organized. The story of 28 years. But there are also new photos, from events in the last month, because the clients came back. All of them. Esperanza, we never forgot you, they said. As I sit down at my desk, the phone rings. A new client, a new life story, a new beginning. And I, Esperanza Delgado, came to this city at 52 with nothing. Now, at 53, I have everything, my dignity, my work, myself. I step out onto the balcony. The Miami sun caresses my face. The ocean waves are a melody in my ears, a coffee in my hand, a smile on my lips. And inside me, for the first time in years, peace. Because revenge wasn't just about getting even. It was about liberation. And I, finally, was free.